Hi children. So how are you? Are you all fine? So today we are going to discuss about migration of a family. Children, we all live in a family, and the family is basically classified into two types: nuclear family and joint family. So how did they classify it as nuclear family and joint family? On the basis of number of members who are present in that family, they have classified it as nuclear family and joint family. So if you observe it carefully, children, the first category is nuclear family. So in this nuclear family, there are very less number of family members are present. In this nuclear family, mother, father along with the children, they live together to form the nuclear family. Coming to the joint family, here we can find more number of members are present in the family. More number of members are present because here we can find grandmother, grandfather along with the mother, father and uncles, aunts along with their children, that is cousins. So many people will be living together in a single home in case of this joint family. So what we have studied here, children, family is basically classified into two types: nuclear family and joint family. So nuclear family, there are very less number of family members. In the joint family, there are more number of family members are present. So if you observe this joint family, children, some of the members of the family may not be living along with us. They may be living in a separate place. So we will meet them during special occasions like wedding or birthday parties or any family function. They will be coming and visiting us for few days. So they will visit us, again they will go back to their places. So some of the members of the family may be living away from the remaining family members. This is also possible, children. And next, coming to the number of the members in a family, it will not remain constant. There will be always a change in the number of members in the family. It may increase or it may decrease. It may increase due to certain situations, like for example, if a person gets married or he gives birth to a child, then the number of members in a family may increase. Or sometimes what happens, children, the number of members in a family may decrease. When a member of the family dies, it is due to death of the person, or it may be because some of the members have migrated to another place. So due to these two reasons, we can say the number of the members in a family may increase or decrease. Once again, let us see, children. The number of the members in the family may increase or decrease. It will not remain constant. This is especially we are talking about joint families. When we are explaining about joint families, the family members may increase in certain situations. For example, the first situation is marriage. When a person is married, then also the members of the family may increase. And the second one is birth of a child. When the birth of the child takes place, then also the members will increase. It will decrease in certain situations. For example, during the death of a person, or maybe due to migration, some of the members of the family, they have separated from their family members and they had to go to another city or another country for the purpose of job or education or anything. So due to this also, sometimes the members of the family may decrease. So it is always undergoing a constant change. Sometimes it is increasing and sometimes it is decreasing. So here children, now you have understood about nuclear families, joint families, and how the members of the family will increase and how the members of the family will decrease. Now next we are going to learn about a girl named Radhika, and we are going to explain about Radhika's paternal family tree. Paternal means, the word paternal is related to father. So who are the members present in the father's family of this Radhika and where they are living, in which places they are living. So here is a small flow chart. Let us see the flow chart. So here we can see children, Radhika's grandfather and grandmother both of them, they live in a city called as Vijayawada. Whereas the mother and father of Radhika, along with her brother, they stay in a city called as Hyderabad. Next, her maternal aunt lives in Delhi, and their uncle and aunt, along with the cousins, they live in Bengaluru. So if you observe the flowchart children, the grandfather and the grandmother of Radhika, they live in Vijayawada. Actually, before, the entire family, all the members of the family were living in Vijayawada, but due to various reasons, they have migrated from Vijayawada to different places. For example, her father had to migrate to Hyderabad because of a job transfer purpose, and her maternal aunt went to Delhi for pursuing her higher studies or higher education, and uncle, aunt along with the cousins, they settled in Bengaluru because the uncle wanted to join in a software company. So for the job purpose and for better opportunities, uncle and aunt, they have shifted to Bengaluru. So here you can see that once it was a joint family, but now the people have distributed themselves in different cities for various reasons. So here people are moving from one place to another place. For various reasons they are moving from one place to another place, and we call that process as migration. What is meant by migration, children? People are moving from one place to another place. This is called as migration. And the people who move from one place to another place, they are called as migrants. They are called as migrants. Now next let us see what are the main reasons for which the people are moving from one place to another place. Already we have discussed, but again, once again we'll see the main reasons why people will migrate from one place to another place. So I hope, children, you have understood the main topics what we have learnt until now. So the first thing that you should remember is what is migration? The process in which people move from one place to another place. They go there, they want to settle there for various reasons. This is called as migration. What are the main reasons for migration? The main reasons for migration are, it varies from person to person. The first one is higher education. Students who are pursuing or students who are learning graduation, post-graduation courses, they want to go to another cities for getting better education opportunities. So mainly for this purpose, they want to go from one city to another city or from one country to another country also. Nowadays people are going to other countries for studying, for getting jobs. So this is the main reason for higher education purpose. Second one is for getting better job opportunities. Sometimes what happens, children, we may not get the job that we want in the city we are living in. The opportunity may not be available for us. So in this case, what happens? The people may go to another city to find the jobs. So this is another reason for getting better job opportunities. Sometimes because of job transfers, when the person is working in a government sector or government companies or even private companies, the companies may give orders to transfer to another place. They may tell that particular employee, go to another place or shift to another place and then settle there. So because of the job transfers also, people have to migrate from one place to another place. After marriage, this is another reason. Girls basically, after marriage, they have to leave their parental home and they have to go to their in-laws' house. So in this situation, they may be settling in the same city, or sometimes they have to move to another city and settle there. So depending on where the in-laws are staying. If they are staying in the same city, she will settle in the same city. or if they are staying in another city, then definitely she has to go there. She cannot stay back here. So this is also one of the reasons where we can say that people move from one place to another place. So this is based on their wish, they move to another place. These are the main reasons for migration. There is another case where people have to shift to another place without their wish, or they are forced to migrate to another place. That is called as displacement, where the people are forced to shift to another place. That is called as displacement. Why do you think they are forced to migrate to another place? So next topic we are going to see why people are forced to migrate to another places and what are the reasons behind it. So first, displacement. And the reasons for displacement. First, what is displacement? People are forced to migrate to another place and settle there. That process is called as displacement. What are the main reasons for displacement? If you see, first one, during natural calamities. During natural calamities like tsunami, earthquakes, floods, famines, the government will give orders for the people to shift to another place, because the government is concerned with the it is very much concerned with the loss of life and property of the people. So to prevent the loss of lives, the government will shift the people to a safer places. So this is regarding natural calamities. Second one, man-made calamities. Man-made calamities. Man-made calamities like war or the political decision that is taken by the government also influences the migration of the people. For example, during the India and Pakistan partition, many people were forced to migrate to different places because of the decision that is taken by the government. And here, some of the people, they may be forced to go to another countries and they may seek the shelter there. Such kind of people are called as refugees. Such kind of people are called as refugees. Next, let us go to the third reason. Third reason is demolition. What is this demolition, children? So, when the people are living in the houses which are constructed on unauthorized lands, then the government will break down those houses and it will shift the people to another place. So, this breaking down of houses which are constructed on unauthorized lands, they are called as demolition. This process is called as demolition. And the fourth reason is, while constructing industries or dams or flyovers, the people may be shifted to another place when the government wants to construct these industries, dams and flyovers in that particular place. Fifth one is seasonal migration. What is this seasonal migration? Farmers in our country, they are mostly dependent upon agriculture, and they want to irrigate the fields by using the rainwater. So when they want to irrigate the fields by using the rainwater, mostly in the rainy season they have work. They'll do the agricultural activities. But after the rainy season is completed, the farmers are free because they don't have much work to do. At that time, some of the farmers, they migrate to the cities, and temporarily they want to stay in the cities, and they will do small jobs, and again they will come back to the villages once the next rainy season arrives. So the time gap in between the from one rainy season to next rainy season, this short gap, in this short gap the farmers migrate to cities for temporary settlements, and again they come back to the villages. So this kind of migration from villages to cities and again from cities to villages, this is called as seasonal migration. And why they kept the name seasonal? Because this is dependent upon the rainy season or the monsoons. Because the farmers are completely dependent on the rainy season. That's why they have kept the name seasonal migration. So now you have understood what is displacement and what are the reasons for displacement. So next we are going to discuss about what are the impacts of migration on the people. What are the positive impacts and the negative impacts of migration on the people. There are some positive impacts and there are some negative impacts also. Let us discuss about both of them. So what is this, children? Impacts of migration. Impacts of migration. First let us see the positive, then let us see the negative. First we will see the positive impacts of migration. Then negative impacts of migration. In the positive impacts for migration, when people migrate from one place to another place, they get better opportunities of education, better opportunities of jobs, and they get to meet different kinds of people. So the cultural integration among the people will increase, cultural cooperation will increase. So as a result, they will get to know about different types of cultures, languages, or different types of food items. So they get adjusted to different cultures. So this is basically the positive impacts of migration. The first one is education. Educational opportunities will increase. Job opportunities will increase. And cultural integration among the people will increase. Coming to the negative impacts, so when they are shifting to a new place, their entire lifestyle will change. So if they get adjusted to all those conditions, it is okay, but if they don't get adjusted to the new conditions, then they'll face many problems. So adjusting to the new conditions is the main problem for them. Adjusting themselves to the new conditions. Adjusting themselves to the new conditions is the main problem or the negative impact for migration. And the next one is the elderly members of the family the elderly members of the family will have to suffer a lot, because when the younger generations migrate to different places, the elderly members of the family, they suffer a lot. So this also we can say negative impacts. And the children particularly feel it very difficult to adjust to the new conditions. So children also face problems during migration. So these are the, we can say, the positive and the negative impacts of migration. Next is changing structure of the families. Like we have discussed earlier, the family structure will not remain the same, because there may be an increase in the members of the family, or there may be decrease in the members of the family due to various reasons. And also in the olden days, particularly, women were confined to the four walls of the house. They were forced to stay inside the house, and they were forced to do all the household activities, like for example cooking, washing the clothes, or looking after the children. These were the main duties of the women in those days. But now the women empowerment has increased. Women also, they are also migrating to different cities for the education purpose, for getting better opportunities of the jobs. So now we can say women are no longer confined to the four walls of the house. So now they are also coming out of the house, and even some of the women are also becoming entrepreneurs. They are establishing companies, their own companies. They are giving jobs to others. So women empowerment has increased compared to the olden days. And also the younger generation of the family are shifting to other cities for the education and for the job purposes. So in this way, what is happening? Some members are getting added to the family by means of a marriage and birth, and sometimes what is happening, due to migration, some of the members of the family are leaving the house and they are going to other cities and countries. So in this way, there is a lot of change in the family structure system. And another interesting fact, children, in Meghalaya, husbands live along with their wives' family systems. So this is a new thing. We have never heard like this. It's always the wife who will go and stay along with the husband's family. But in Meghalaya state, husband will go and stay along with the wife's family itself. So in this lesson, we have studied about migration. What is migration? Migrants, and the main reasons why people will migrate from one place to another place. And also we learned about displacement, that is, people are forced to migrate to other place due to some reasons. We have also studied about the reasons for displacement, and next we have studied the positive and negative impacts of migration, and we studied about changing family structure or changing family patterns.